This is WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I don't know shit about fuck.
All right, what did all these buttons do? How do you work this thing?
I don't know.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is Friday, the 19th day of August, and this is Friday Night Freedom. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Wow, that was an interesting pre-show panic. I don't know.
This is what it was. We were fighting the gremlins off.
Yeah, trying to kick the gremlins' ass before we start, because I'm really sick and tired of them showing up in the middle of my show. Our show. Make sure I turn that back up, because that screwed me up last week. Man, what a week, dude. I'm not sure what happened. dude. And it all started going downhill after our show last week for me. It's just... Say what? You were breaking up there. I didn't hear anything you said.
Anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just been one of those weeks, man. I had to actually write down how it went. And this kind of leads into our first story. So it's been one of those weeks. I signed off the show last Friday with Jay Reddy. Took care of a few things online. I ate dinner. I just did my normal stuff, man. And I ended up going to bed early just because I was tired. I found myself unable to get motivated the next morning. I slept like crap. Friday night, I just slept like garbage. And Saturday, I was just like unmotivated. Are we clipping? Is there a...
I don't know. It sounds like you're clipping on my end. It might be my end. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Hey, in the chat, just give me some thumbs up or whatever. Are we looking good? Are we sounding okay? I'm hearing funny things.
Yeah, I'm you're talking and it's just like you're stopping. I don't know. The gremlins have attacked.
They
Full-blown gremlins.
So Bob says we're choppy.
A little chop. It's got to be Skype. It's got to be Skype.
It's got to be. Well, I don't know, because I'm mainlining this, man. Everybody should be hearing me just fine. If it was a Skype issue, it would be you.
Be on my end, yeah.
I think if Pooky is choppy, then it's a Skype thing.
Hello, people coming in now.
I'm hearing Heath says that we're good. Oh, Ed Lidas is viewing from Mindanao, Philippines. Wow. I think you win the prize for furthest away from us.
Does Australia count?
Yeah, Australia counts. We have an Australian.
Is Australia farther away from the Philippines?
I don't know. Well, it depends on which direction you go, I suppose. So Bob says both of you have a little bit of clipping. I don't know. Austin says I bet you're being DNS targeted. I don't know. I have no idea. But the show must go on. So anyway, I was not feeling good Saturday. Yes. But it wasn't like I was sick. I didn't feel sick. I just felt like unmotivated, depressed. I don't know. I don't know if it was a depression thing or whatever. So I didn't want to go grocery shopping, which is what I usually do on Saturday mornings. First thing I do is I get up, I have breakfast, I go grocery shopping. But that didn't happen. So Saturday night I ended up ordering groceries online. I did end up going Sunday morning and picking those dudes up.
Dashed it.
No, I had to get out of the house, man. I went for a bike ride, and I got the groceries and stuff. I had to get out of the house. I had to force myself to do things. Sunday night I slept like crap. The entire week was like that. I slept like crap during the night, and I just had really, just super tired days. And I'm doing a little bit of some show prep. Some you gotta read the news and understand what the heck's going on. And I came across this story on Wednesday. It said COVID, the spicy flu. Omicron variant has continued to mutate and prolong the global pandemic. with some studies saying that the virus is now more infectious and could cause even more severe symptoms. However, a new study finds that the majority of people that have been infected with the Omicron variant didn't even know that they had it. So here in my head, I'm thinking, I had the spicy flu again, but I didn't have any symptoms. I didn't, the runny nose wasn't there. The headaches weren't there. All of the typical symptoms just weren't there. So I don't know. Researchers from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center say a staggering 56% of COVID positive individuals didn't even know that they were sick. The lack of awareness has led to a surge in Omicron cases, according to the scientists. So I got personally offended by that sentence. I said, I'm thinking to myself, lack of awareness. This is my fault because I don't test myself every day. What are we supposed to do? Test ourselves every day just to see what the hell's going on?
To be truthful at this point, is I'm on the whole thing, because the way our government has handled it and the pulling regulations back, like at this point, it doesn't even matter at this point. Just say you could be infected, don't quarantine. Ask, like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, our protocols at work have changed, and the CDC protocols have changed. So there's like no, I mean, if it's one of those, if you've been exposed by somebody, wear a mask. If you stay away from work, you're not going to get paid. Last year it was almost exactly a year ago. I had the spicy flu, and there was actually a charge number. I got paid. I didn't have to burn up any vacation days or sick days or whatever. There was an actual a charge number, a government charge number for that.
Well,
but now
people got paying. Turned out to be at the point they're like, these people are just getting sick now at this point. I mean,
yeah, I just so that's kind of what was really weird about the entire thing. The symptoms aren't severe. Many patients usually suffer from fatigue, maybe a cough, headache, sore throat, runny nose. The investigation started 2 years ago. The team tested the blood of healthcare workers and patients for antibodies that fight against the Omicron variant. So these folks are getting tested like every day. I think healthcare workers get tested a whole lot. I mean, the only time I got tested is when I wanted to return. I was sick over a weekend, and in order to go back to work, I had to take a test. And when I took the test, they said, "Hey, you got the spicy flu." So I ended up staying 10 days. I had a 10-day vacation. That whole next week was me. I got bored. I got really, really bored. I read books. I got bored from reading books. I got bored watching Netflix. I ended up buying a year subscription for HBO Plus or HBO Go or something like that. And then I ended up canceling it because there wasn't shit on HBO. I couldn't find any programs that I liked. I tried. That was my second attempt to watch Game of Thrones, and it just wasn't happening. So that's that. So what's his nuts? Lloyd Austin, Defense Secretary, tested positive for COVID for the second time this year. Why does he look like? Who the hell was that African dictator?
That's the last Scotsman or last Scottish
king,
whatever it is. He had a whole list of destroyer of dragons. It was like kind of like the Game of Thrones Khaleesi. Like the title was like, yeah, that guy. They made a movie about him. He was a little bit. It
was Forrest Whitaker. Didn't he play him?
Oh yeah.
I got some Forrest Whitaker news coming up.
Oh no! Make my eyeball twitch.
So the investigation started 2 years ago. They tested patients and they tested healthcare workers. Dr. Susan Chang from Cedars-Sinai said more than half who were infected with Omicron didn't even know that they had it. Awareness will be key for allowing us to move beyond this pandemic. Again, am I supposed to test myself every day? You know, at work, they're just like, you know, if you don't feel good, don't come into work, which people usually do. A lot of the engineers have the ability to work from home. They can do their stuff from home. But, I mean, the only way to, you know, awareness, what the hell does that mean? I'd have to freaking test myself every single day before I go to work. I haven't even cracked the case on the, you know, those free COVID tests. I just wanted to.
That's what they're pushing now. They're pushing testing. So I mean, someone's got to make money somewhere.
I mean, they spent the government money on it. They spent my money on it, so I signed up for it, and it showed up. What I wanted to see was, because I heard rumors. I'm like, dude, these test kits are made in China. I'm like, bullshit. Come on. You know, so I ordered these test kits, and sure enough, on the box, in the back of the box, it says, you know, the made in China, distributed from some pharmaceutical company in California.
That makes sense.
So it is supposed that I guess an update is getting pushed to our machines. So that's why we're a little bit this way and that. So
what was happening? Is that what Windows on a Friday night?
That's stupid, right?
Yeah, you're gonna do it during peak time there. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because no one hangs out online on Friday nights. I did see a security update for those who have iPhones. Like if you got an iPhone, there's an update that you have to install. So that's I guess an important thing. Yeah, Sin says the Apple hack news. Yeah, I saw that after
I thought apples couldn't get hacked or viruses and stuff.
Well, they can. It's just so hard. I guess it's so hard to just write code. Right, it's not worth the time and effort to write an infectious code for iOS. I don't know why. I don't know shit about programming. I turn it on and it works. That's cool. So I don't know if I had the spicy flu last week or this week, last week, but I guess since I was so fatigued, I guess maybe that's an indication of the spicy flu. Maybe I had it again. Maybe now I got the antibodies and I'm good for another year. Is that how that works?
It just blows my mind that many shots, and it I understand the whole concept of vaccines. You get the shot and you're supposed to be like a rabies vaccine, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, you get the rabies protected for 5 years or something like that. So I wouldn't expect to get bit by a raccoon and catch rabies at that point.
Or polio.
Polio's making. I heard there's finding it in the water and crap in New York or some shit.
Over in the UK, they found it in the water. I don't know if did they find it in the water supply or they found it in the water, like the Thames or something like that. I think they found it just in the.
Nasty. If you fall into it, you deserve whatever disease you catch at that point.
Man, I'm watching a thing on Netflix that's called like the 72 most dangerous places to live, and dude, they got some nasty places, and it's mostly due to. They don't have trash collection. Families bathe in the freaking river, and that's where all the industrial runoff goes. And there's mercury, just all kinds of just nasty stuff, and people are bathing in this.
It sounds like the Ganges.
Sin. Oh yeah, the Ganges is nasty. Sin says they found it in the sewage water.
They had to shut off someone at that point, huh?
Mm. So here's my you want the Forrest Whitaker story? This is kind of cool, and this is more my generation than anything else, because this was 1982. The classic film Fast Times at Ridgemont High celebrated its 40th anniversary this week. Have you ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High? I love that movie, man. While the movie launched the careers of Jennifer Jason Leigh, Forrest Whitaker, Sean Penn, and Nicolas Cage, among its star-studded ensemble cast, actor Judge Reinhold alleged that Universal Pictures was very wary to release the film. They almost didn't release it. Producers were really heartsick because somebody high up says this is pornography, and there's no way that Universal is going to release this movie. Reinhold told the Hollywood Reporter, "We didn't see this as a horny high school movie at all. We saw it as having an opportunity to do something authentic that was based on actual experiences of the kids that Cameron, the writer, chronicled that whole year. He went to a high school, and he faked being a high school student, and he just took notes." Screenplay was on Crow's 1981 book, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, A True Story. It's about his experience going undercover in a high school, or going undercover as a high school student for a year. Director Heckerling added about Universal's distribution plan that they were going to put it on the shelf because they didn't know how it would make any money. It's nuts, dude, because that's a very popular movie. They decided that they would just open it up in a few theaters on the West Coast, and they did that, and people kept on coming back. They started learning the dialogue, so then quickly they put it out to the rest of the country. There was no advertisement for that movie. It just showed up in the theaters. With an overnight success, Fast Times grossed about $27 million at the domestic box office, but it's about $83 million today. And Heckerling emphasized that the film is timeless in its messages of sexual exploration, content, body autonomy, plus all the hormones, heartbreak, and lust in between. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is one of the few Hollywood films that openly discussed and then showed an abortion, marking a revolutionary turning point in film. I mean, it was just cool, man. It's just a cool movie.
As it came out,
82, you were what, -20 or something like that?
negative something. Yeah.
So that's that. What the hell? Why is my text below that? I gotta move that. There we go. So they in that picture, they got like all the olds and news pictures. It's pretty cool, man. They're all successful. Every one of those folks are successful. Maybe Judge Reinhold, he doesn't act anymore. He kind of retired back in 2017, but all the other actors are still doing their things. Was that Phoebe Cates and even what's his nuts?
Nick Cage in there.
Nick Cage, yeah. That was one of his first movies.
So every time I see Nick Cage, all I can think about is
So happy birthday, happy 40th birthday, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So now we got another state out there that's Have you gone to see any movies lately?
no.
The last movie I went and saw was Top Gun, the new Top Gun.
I don't go to movie theaters anymore. Just don't. Wait for it to hit, like Netflix or HBO. I just don't like going to most of the movie theaters I've been into. It's like the seats are jacked up. Have been good. Like I don't want for a bad experience if I could just sit at home and watch a movie with my own pop.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you $14 for popcorn and a Coke or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to go see, and I for some reason it's the new Thor. It's love. I honestly I made a mistake. I called it Love and Chocolate for some stupid reason, but it's like whatever. It's something. It's love and thunder. That's it.
Love and shock.
I don't know why. I have no idea why I thought that. It sounds good. It sounds like a legit movie title. Sin says they had a butter shortage in town. I've never heard of that. As long as you got milk, you can have butter, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the
cream makes some good butter.
Maybe the cows were on strike. So we got a new state in the running to legalize marijuana on a recreational level.
And who be that?
Missouri. That's Middle America Republicanville, isn't it?
Yeah, well, where are you, like right next? Is it Michigan or Illinois?
Illinois.
Both Illinois. So I mean, you're just seeing it. This is how it starts. These states start seeing tax revenue, like there are people going over the state line to purchase said item to bring it across the state lines federally and by state laws or whatever it is. But they're seeing, and they're like, well, we should be making this money, and that's usually how it starts. For just recently, because DC has it legal, and people were just going into DC. No.
I don't know, man. Texas was like that, or is like that, as far as gambling goes. Gambling's not legal in Texas, but you go over the border to Louisiana or Oklahoma.
Louisiana, it's legal,
and it's completely legal. I mean, as soon as you cross the border, there's these big ass casinos.
I mean, I've been into some Texas where as soon as you cross this county line, there's liquor stores and beer stores as soon as you hit the county line. Yeah,
there's a bunch of dry counties. I'm not sure what the count is on dry counties, but I know I used to live in Mansfield, and they didn't sell beer, they didn't sell wine. You'd have to go into Arlington to if you wanted to buy beer or liquor or anything like that. Ohio was I lived in Bowling Green, which is Wood County, and they had you had to buy liquor from a government run. You can buy half strength liquor at the grocery store, but if you wanted like 80 proof, like Jack Daniels or whatever, full strength, you would have to go to a government run liquor store, package store. Weird.
I know Texas still does ice houses, which is a thing. And a lot of those are, it's like you bring your own liquor in a bag and you buy, like, I guess, you buy ice to mix your own cocktails.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, holy crap, you could buy beer and ice. That's it. Huh?
See, I used to work when I was stationed at Fort Campbell. When I got out of the Army the first time, I stayed in the Clarksville area. I lived in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I worked security at the Cat West Show Bar, and that's a BYOB BYOB strip bar. So you go and you buy beer or whatever you're drinking, then you have to pay at the door a fee based on what you're bringing in. And they provide the mixers and stuff. You can bring a bottle of whiskey, you can bring beer, you can bring whatever. So that was kind of weird.
What's the name of that? I can't remember. There was a strip club in Fort Hood area, Lean, right outside of Starlight. It was Starlight Club or whatever it is, but it was like right across from there, and it was BYOB.
Mm-hmm.
But man, whew.
So anyway, back to the marijuana story here. Some people will call this a success. A campaign to legalize recreational marijuana in Missouri gathered enough signatures to make it on the November ballot. If voters approve the constitutional amendment on marijuana, those ages 21 and older could buy and grow it for personal consumption as early as this year. We look forward to engaging with voters across the state in the coming weeks and months, says Legal Mo 22 campaign manager John Payne. Missourians are more than ready to end the senseless and costly prohibition of marijuana. Missouri voters approved medical marijuana back in 2018. Efforts to allow recreational marijuana have failed to pass the Missouri's Republican-led legislature for years, prompting advocates to go to voters instead to get the voters to approve. Put it on the ballot. And that's the way it should be. Put it on. If you want to do it, put it on the ballot. Let people decide.
I don't think there's too many people right now in the United States. Some of the older people who, that whole reefer madness thing. But a lot of people, hey, if you want to do it, do it. No? Just, don't be outside and keep it to yourself. But I don't know. Most people, I think I know, but like, hey, if people want to smoke it, let them smoke it. It's probably safer that way anyway.
Do it. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, guess what? You don't have to. I won't do it. It could be legal all day long. I'm not going to do it. I don't like the way it makes me feel, so I don't do it.
You get them old. I'll say Karens, older Karens. Who are like, oh, you'll fry your brain. That's just like on drugs. The whole Nancy Reagan crowd.
Oh yeah, you're like. God, what were those 1960s and 70s PSA?
This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. I would probably say, yeah, probably if you're doing coke or whatever, yeah. If you're gonna be smoking pot, the worst that you're gonna do is eat a bag of chips, like a whole bag.
I had this whole cocaine up until recently. It was like, man, if people want to do cocaine, it was perfectly legal up until 20s or whatever it is, until they started outlawing those things. And I just recently had an epiphany. I was like, nah, that needs to stay illegal at that point.
Yeah, so I was gonna bring this up, and Heath just mentioned it in the chats. He said Mississippi voted. They brought it up. The voters voted for it. The government signed off on it, and then the Supreme Court in Missouri shut it down.
Oh,
yeah, that's fucked up.
Oh, those guys aren't even elected officials, are they?
I'm not sure what the Supreme Court is. I think, like in Texas, I know that they're all the judges are elected from the just the regular local courts to maybe the Supreme Court is appointed by the governor. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know how they could legally do that at that point. I guess there's some constitution in a Mississippi constitution or whatever it is, some amendment.
I don't know. I'll have to read into that.
Bad.
I like to understand things. Before I talk about them, I don't understand what the hell's going on in Mississippi. I do remember it happening though.
Louisiana. I've been following TikTok.
Even Texas. Texas is backwards like that. I'm in Texas, and there's I want to say it's not obviously recreational is not legal, but I think you can get it prescribed to you by a doctor. It's medical, but there's not dispensaries and crap.
Well, the guy I've been following on the TikTok, he's a veterans advocate trying to get, like for the VA, some medical marijuana for fucking veterans and shit. And he's been fighting up at I guess the capital of Louisiana, and some of these old heads boys coming out saying stuff. I'm thinking, people still think this shit, no? Like he's smoke it, and then you're gonna play jazz music and jump out a window and like what? You're an elected official, right? This just blows my mind.
You're gonna smoke that devil's lettuce, and then the next thing you know, you're gonna be doing meth and coke and all this other stuff. It's a gateway drug. It's a gateway to
bullshit.
It's a gateway drug to freaking Doritos and Bugles and stuff.
The gateway drug's alcohol. I hate to say it, but
yeah,
everyone, the first or experiment with as a teenager is maybe a cigarette. That's where you start. Huh?
Yeah. You see mom and dad drinking, whatever, or smoking cigarettes. My parents smoked cigarettes. I'm glad that they quit. God, that made trips to church hell, man. Both mom and dad firing up the damn cigarette on the way to church. Ugh. Me and my brothers are in the back seat going, open a window. So recreational marijuana is already legal in 19 states now. And legalization proposals are on the ballot this fall in South Dakota and in Maryland as well. Supporters are also trying to get measures on the ballot in Arkansas, which is an interesting one, North Dakota, and Oklahoma. I think it's only a matter of time before it's just legal everywhere. I wish it would become federally okay or not
the
criminal.
The federal government won't do it because they make too much incarcerating people and they get too much money from the pharmaceutical lobby. Because you can't patent a plant. You can patent drugs related to all the chemicals and stuff, but you can't just be like, oh, this plant's now owned by Pfizer. No. So
well, you know what? You make it legal, and then okay, Pfizer, you do your research and you make your Pfizer strain. AstraZeneca, you make your own strain. You know that. Don't just poo-poo it. I mean, yeah, it's not for me. I won't do it, but I don't judge people who do it. I don't care. I don't care. If that helps you out,
your choice.
I mean, if that helps you get to sleep, if that eases some of your pain, then great. And if you're not taking narcotics to soothe your pain, and you're just smoking a freaking joint before you go to bed, awesome. But that's why the big pharma wants they're going to be losing money.
That's the pharmaceutical industry, the oil industry. I can go on for days. Like hemp is hemp. You can smoke as much hemp as you want. You probably wind up with I'm talking like industrial hemp. It is still illegal because it's related to the devil's. And I was like, you can make oil, gas, plastic, a whole 9 yards. Whole industrial agricultural revolution at this point, but they don't want.
I see a lot of ads, and I don't know. I think this is based on my browsing history. The cookies that I've got on my computer are just insane because I do a lot of research on all the stories, and I look up things. I do Google searches on I'll do Google searches on meth and pot. And some of the sex stories that I have, I must look like a freak to the FBI. Whoever my FBI agent is, whoever my personal FBI agent is probably going, man, this dude is funked up.
As soon as I boot up the internet, my FBI retainers probably gouging his eye.
He's going, damn it, he's up again. Or it's like, if you pull an all-nighter, he's like, yes, fucker's still up. So, we talked about the tax benefits, or you had mentioned the tax benefits. But marijuana sales in Missouri would be taxed at 6%. The tax is estimated to bring in more than $46 million during the first year. The amendment is in effect, and then close to $70 million the following year. Revenues would be earmarked for veterans' homes, drug treatment programs, and public defenders. That's legit.
Public pretenders?
Public defenders.
I call
lawyers.
Them public pretenders.
Oh, okay.
No, because they don't really care about who they're really. Most of them don't. At least there's a few out there. Don't get me wrong, but most of them are just like, let's just take a plea on this and we'll be good. And that's the point, no?
Yeah,
I mean, it's tirade off on.
Well, I mean, they make a very quite a modest salary. My brother-in-law used to be, well, he used to be a prosecutor, but the prosecutors make, I think, the same as the public defenders do.
As long as Missouri doesn't mess up like California, where it tax the living hell out of it to the point where the black market took off again. The black market for this go away because you get rid of the fentanyl. Like there's people like down in Florida, horror stories about people mixing I guess it's called gray death or something like that. It's like a mix of heroin and something else into the end of the weed, dusting it.
Oh, that's nasty.
So they get hooked on it. So they're like sitting there jittering, I need a fucking joint. I need a joint. And they don't realize they're heroin and shit at that point, huh? The federal, if the state this is completely against my beliefs most of the time, but if the state managing it, there's some sort of quality control at that point. Huh?
Yes. Yeah, I think it needs to be regulated if it's going to be legalized.
Yeah. If I want to grow a couple plants in my backyard, like tomatoes or whatever it is, fine and dandy. I know I'm just for my personal use at that point, But
so cities and other municipalities could enact an additional 3% tax on, or they can ban it altogether. Missouri is going to say, okay, yes, this is legal, and then individual counties can vote on whether it's going to be legal in that county or not, which is fair.
It's kind of the way our system was set up to be in the first place.
Exactly. A representative republic. How about that? Not a democracy. Majority doesn't rule. It's a representative.
A small county somewhere in Missouri with maybe 1,600, 6,000 people living there, being like, yeah, we don't like the idea of that. We all mutually, we don't want it legal here. Or they all go like, hey, hell yeah, put that 3% tax on, fix these roads up.
See, I tried to look up because Colorado was pretty much the first. Was it the first? Maybe it was the first, but I think it was the first on a large scale legalization for recreational.
But they brought in so much tax revenue, it was insane at that point, huh?
And they limited. There's a Netflix show on the process. I mean, going from this is highly illegal to it's legal. Now we're going to have dispensaries and grow sites and whatever. It was really very well thought out, well executed, but they don't. It's not like you can just have Pooky's Pot Emporium in Colorado Springs. You have to apply for a permit, and there's only so many permits allowed. And once they're full, and no one else new is going to come around until somebody else shuts down or whatever.
Don't like that idea.
So by comparison, Colorado taxes retail marijuana at 4.31%. But there's another 5.5% tax for a total of 9.8. It's a 9.81% tax on marijuana sales. California is about the same. They're around 9%. Now,
that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, it's free money.
Traditionally, it was the cartels or you had private entities throughout the state doing their little underground ops, getting 100% profit off this crap, and the state wasn't seeing anything except for when they got seizures.
Yeah.
Like land or boats or, whatever, cars. But now it's free for all at this point. Like anyone who's selling it, okay, well, we're getting. I hate taxation is theft in my eyes, but I mean, in this sense, it's putting the cartel. So I don't care if it's putting a cartel out of business. I don't give a crap.
So should marijuana be legalized recreationally? Yeah, I think so. My personal opinion is yeah.
The federal government should have no say over that.
So as far as federal prohibition on marijuana, I think they force businesses who deal in marijuana to essentially launder their money. So I think once the federal ban is lifted officially, then so they can actually use banks. Swipe your debit card to buy this shit instead of it being a cash only business, because that's
why you saw those freaking ATMs and weird stuff and like casinos. Casinos was these businesses to launder their money because they just go to the casino with whatever money, buy a little bit, cash out. They might lose 10% on their gamble, and hey, I got this from the casino. Oh, it's clean money now. I can put it in the bank. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be giving laundering information.
Yeah, I mean, how do you turn cash into, how do you get that in the books? I mean, yeah, you collect cash. How do you keep it safe?
Or you have right next to it is a nail salon, and right next to it is a laundromat. That's how things.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Breaking Bad. There's ways to launder money, but to launder that much money,
there's ways.
That's just a lot of money, man. So I think I personally think that the federal criminality of marijuana needs to be lifted and allow these businesses to use banks.
Actually start paying their fair share. Everyone talks about these billionaires not paying their fair share, but industries can't pay their fair share even though they might want to.
I saw a story about like robberies of dispensaries are happening more and more. You know, people going and just, which is weird because when we went to Colorado for the Freedom On Fest, we actually went to a dispensary just because this is Colorado. That's what you do. And there were armed guards. I mean,
well, who would have?
Who's going to roll a?
I mean, guns are going to keep your money.
What's up, Steven from South Texas?
What part of South Texas?
Fellow Texan.
In what part of South Texas?
What part of South Texas?
South Texas, like Corpus Christi, Brownsville, or you just,
El Paso.
Paso's West Texas.
That is west. There's more south than that.
You're Southville, Corpus Christi. That's where what's that one? South Padre's fun on spring break, man. That's all I gotta say.
Or you could be in the boondocks of South Texas. I think Shipwreck is living there, like basically Mexico.
We are talking about the legalization of marijuana in a certain state.
Missouri. But unless you're Japan. Japan's got a new thing right now. There's actually a campaign in Japan right now to entice people to drink more alcohol.
What?
Yeah. Oh, McAllen. Yeah, that's definitely South Texas.
Yes.
So Japan, check this out. The Japanese government has launched a nationwide competition calling for ideas to encourage people to drink more alcohol. After a change in attitudes, and this is what their studies have shown, the change in attitudes among the young resulted in a slide in tax revenues because the younger population in Japan, they're just not drinking anymore. The sake.
Well, they're not drinking sake. Sake kind of fell off. From what I understand, the appeal of sake, they look at it as like, oh, that's an old man's drink.
Rice wine.
Isn't
that what it is? It's rice liquor.
Rice. It's kind of like soju. I guess a bit. Soju. I like sake. I love sake.
I've never had sake. I've had plenty of soju, and I've had plenty of experiences that I can't remember with soju.
I mean, there's Japanese whiskeys are made with rice instead of like corn or rye like they're made in the States. I think flavor difference between a Japanese whiskey and like a good old like 10. Yeah,
it just looks too much like vodka. I don't like vodka.
Yeah.
So it's called a Sake Viva campaign, which is being run by the National Tax Agency. Taxation is theft. They're asking 20 to 39-year-olds to come up with proposals to help revitalize the popularity of alcoholic drinks, which have fallen out of favor because
9-year-olds?
of 20 to 39.
Oh, okay. As if they're asking 9-year-olds.
So drinking has fallen out of favor because of lifestyle changes due to the coronavirus pandemic among the young people. I don't know. In the United States, I think that picked up alcohol use. Didn't it?
It was reverse here in the States. People drink. A friend of mine, he was posting, he was like, this is my normal drink for the month. It was like a fifth of act. And he's like, this is what I drank this month. There's like 10 bottles on his wall. He was going through alcohol like on lockdown. He wasn't allowed to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, or you work from home. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to tie one on when you're doing work, but you might have a glass of wine or maybe some kind of an adult beverage while you're working.
I mean, culture's really weird when it comes to drinking because, like how we like think, like family and stuff like that. And they'll work all day with their coworkers or whatever, and at the end of the day, go and drink with their coworkers. Like they'll let off steam and shit. And it's like me at the end of the day, half you assholes. I want to be left alone and drink by myself.
So the competition, which runs until September 9th, calls for new products and designs as well as different ways to promote drinking. Entrants are also encouraged to explore sales methods using the metaverse, which is I don't know. I don't know. I know what the metaverse is. I don't understand the appeal of the metaverse or the purpose of the metaverse.
It's the Matrix. That's what.
It's fake. It's like it's Sims. It's the Sims.
I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Second Life, but that's pretty much what the gist of it is. But and it makes it Second Life. My friend tried to get me onto it. I was like, this makes no sense. I was like, wait a minute, I could sell T-shirts and shit. So I started playing around. I made some cash doing it, but I mean they're trying to make an Earth 2.0 where we're all up to our stuff and we're selling digital crap, and that I don't understand how it works, but
So Pop Culture Warrior CQ did an interview with Alex, I forget his last name, Russian name. I don't even know if he may be Russian, I don't know. But there's his movie that he did with these names are just escaping me right now. But it's like it was shot during the pandemic. We're all in New York with all the lockdowns and stuff. And I think it was kind of along those same lines, where everyone's separated from each other, but they exist on this digital plane. What's that?
So like Tron.
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. I used to love playing that video game.
The Light Rider.
Yes,
bike.
Yes, I love that game.
Arcade. Yeah, that was.
It was
so
great. Bad. What is that? 16-bit maybe? 32-bit?
It was not. I don't even think it was 8-bit, man. It might have been like just borderline 8-bit at that point. Yeah, that was like early arcade days.
So I know it's a little bit early, but I think we're going to take a break in a little bit. So there's been a particularly steep decline, and this is back to the alcohol thing in Japan. There's been a particularly steep decline in beer consumption. The sales volume is down 20% over the last 2 years, which is damn significant. 20%.
20% is big, and Japanese beer is good, so I don't know why they'd stop drinking it.
Japan's health ministry, of course, chimed in, and they say that they hope that the campaign would also remind people to drink only the appropriate amount of alcohol. What I don't know what is appropriate. I think that there's the United States version of appropriate is way different. It's like if you drink more than 2 or 3 beers a week, you're a flaming alcoholic or something like that.
Oh, that's please. You drink 2 or 3 beers a week, you need to go to rehab. You need. No?
Yes, yeah. I drink 1 day a week, but it's usually more than I ought to drink. Yeah, I don't.
I see videos floating around on the internet all the time. We have like weird public intoxication laws. I guess it's all right to sit and drunk off your ass drinking. That's perfectly fine, I guess. Mm-hmm. Goes all the time. It's just like a bunch of drunk girls like pouring. I guess they get the version of 4 Loko. They're sitting there drinking and getting drunk at the street. No one cares. People just walk by like, okay, cool. They're having fun. Leaving. Mm-hmm. Here in the States, Karen be like, oh no, there's some drunk people, and then someone gets shot. So I mean.
I remember when I was in Korea, we used to do a lot of rooftop. You heard about the rooftop Koreans and stuff, but I mean, we were on the rooftops. People would have apartments, living with their girlfriends or whatever in Korea. This is outside of Humphreys, and we would go up on the roof and just drink all fucking night long, dude. We'd bring a yo up on there. Everyone would bring a yo, and we'd sleep on the top of the damn buildings.
From what I understand, like laws set in place that purposely keep like the price of soju and beer down. Everyone should be able to drink. Yeah, like it's that Asian mentality to alcohol European and Asian mentality of alcohol is nothing compared to the United States is so crazy with alcohol. It makes no sense. I mean, I understand the drinking and driving laws and stuff like that's stupid. Like if I'm walking down the street trying to buy a pack of cigarettes and I'm a little tipsy, I'm going to jail that night. They're like, oh, here's a ride. Let's go get you cigarettes. You know.
Well, now you can do a little DoorDash or whatever, a pack of smokes and a 12-pack of beer, 12-pack or whatever Four Loko comes in.
Texas allows beer delivery. Here in South Carolina, that is a big no-no.
Yeah, they just legalized that. They just legalized that not too long ago.
Like South Carolina, some of the laws make I think I'm in the only county in South Carolina 24/7.
What's open 24/7? Liquor stores?
The beer store, just beer, like 24/7. I could buy beer, anything under 14. I think 14 or 15% in beer.
Oh shit! Okay.
But yeah, I could buy 24/7, no problem. I'm one of the only counties in South Carolina allow that because we're so close to the border of North Carolina. Allow the same thing, and this is party town, a tourist town. It's liquor on Sundays for some reason.
Yeah, we have. Let's see, we can do beer on Sundays. They just changed the law to allow. It used to be noon. You couldn't buy any beer on Sundays until after 12. They rolled that back to 10.
Go to church. Can't buy beer before you're done with.
You got to go to church. Yeah. And they used to like on election days. On election days, the alcohol sales were prohibited. I don't know if that's changed. I think that's changed. I don't know. It's
drunk and voting, right?
And bring your gun. Man, everyone's packing now since we went to constitutional carry.
I thought you guys haven't went over that yet till September.
I don't know. I carry. I don't have a concealed carry, but I carry everywhere I go now.
I literally thought that didn't officially take place till September this year, but I mean, Texas, I saw signs everywhere, like this big.
Maybe I'm practicing, I guess.
You're just practicing.
I'm practicing.
But it's like with the 701.3 or 7.
Oh, it's a 3006, 3007.
Yeah. So I was like looking. I was like, explain them signs to me. It's like you can carry it if it's concealed, but they don't want to open carry. They don't want to no gun. I'm just like that is just hard to learn at that point.
Yeah. One either allows or prohibits altogether, or the other one is either allows or prohibits concealed, or I'm sorry, open.
South of the border doesn't exist anymore.
What?
They started tearing that down. I think. Yeah. That whole coming across North Carolina on 95 into the south. Had that south of the border with the big sombrero and everything like that. No?
What is it? A Mexican restaurant or something?
No, it was just some weird, stupid tourist attraction right there. What's the name of that? Dillon. And it was just, I heard the story behind it. Is I guess the Eisenhower Busch bottling brewery or whatever it is in this area tax write off because it was just a money pit. Like you go pull up the gas, 25 cents where they gouged the price. Gas. They had all these stupid tourist attractions coming from the north down here, and they would either they'd take Dillon Road in and go into Myrtle Beach, or they stay on 95 and go into Myrtle Beach, but they'd have to pass through there, like all neon, like Route 66 kind of. I don't. You'd have to go look it up. South Carolina, they started tearing that down a couple of months back because it was just it was dead.
No one will go there anymore.
No, well, I mean, sombrero, elevator lift. It was this massive sombrero. You'd go up and you take an elevator up to the top, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm getting to the top of the elevator. You get to the top, all these South Carolina pine trees for miles. So it was just such a stupid.
All right. So let's take
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I've never been there. I didn't know it was there. If you know, you know. All right. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about drugs. We're going to talk about resurrecting an extinct animal, and I got an Ann Hesh update in squatters' rights and what that means. And I got a story that's the only way that I can explain it is it's just freaking weird. The picture of this dude is weird. The story is weird. And it's a good story. It's not a good story. It's an interesting story. How about that? All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about all that stuff. So please hang out. We're going to be back in just a little bit.
This is WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Good for a weekend, so it's gonna be forever, or it's gonna go down in flames. You can tell me when it's over, if the high was worth the pain. Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane, 'cause I know you love the players, and you love the game. 'Cause we're young and we're reckless, we'll take this way too far. We'll leave you breathless, or with a nasty scar. Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. I got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. Cherry lips, crystal eyes, I can show you incredible things. Stolen kisses, pretty lies. You're the queen, baby, I'm your king. Find out what you want, be that guy for a month, but the worst is yet to come. Screaming, crying, perfect storm. I can make all the tables turn. Rose garden, filled with thorns. Give you saggy castle like, oh my God, who is it? I get drunk in jealousy, but you'll come back inside you leave. 'Cause darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream. So it's gonna be forever, or it's gonna go down in flames. Can you tell me when it's over, if the high was worth the pain? Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. 'Cause I know you love the players, and you love the game. 'Cause we're young and we're reckless, we'll take this way too far. We'll leave you breathless, or with a nasty scar. Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. I got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. Girls only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Girls only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn ya. So it's gonna be forever, or it's gonna go down in flames. Can you tell me when it's over, if the high was worth the pain? Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. 'Cause I know you love the players, and you love the game. 'Cause we're young and reckless, we'll take this way too far. We'll leave you breathless, or with a nasty scar. Got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. I got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name.
WTF Nation Radio.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
John Hancock. It's Herbie Hancock. Yeah.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're back with the second half of Friday Night Freedom. My name is KOZ. Up there is Pooky. I don't think I introduced you. This is Pooky. That's Pooky, the guy in the hat. The guy with
automatically super. That everyone knows me.
Well, I know. I mean, you everyone knows Pooky, right? Oh gosh. Still trying to figure out why your audio is clipping. I'm wondering, and I'm going to ask you since you didn't reply, is your microphone wireless?
Am I on wireless? Yes, I'm on wireless.
Okay, that may be an issue, or your microphone's on like a voice activated type thing, where it has to be a certain.
That's not it.
That's not it. Okay. I'm gonna blame Skype, I guess. So we're back for the second half of this. I really need to change my background graphic because it looks like I've got wings coming out of my head. It's just someone had sent me a picture. They did a screen grab of me. And, you know, we were talking or whatever, and they screen grabbed it, and it was like the perfect placement, and it just looked like, you know, I got, you know, wings coming out of my ears. I gotta get with our background guy. What I actually need to do is stop using this fake green screen background and just use my background. But I've got some work to do on my wall before I do that. So I apologize. I don't apologize. I've never played that song before. That was a Blank Space, which is it's a Taylor Swift song, but it was remade by Assuming We Survive, and Adrian Estrella is the lead man. I think Assuming We Survive is kind of a defunct band now. But he explained to us his reasoning behind that. His daughter was like 16 years old at the time that song came out, and she asked him to make a rock version of that song. So that's what happened there. So I've got a copy of that, and for some reason I played it. I was going to play another Assuming We Survive song, and that I put that one in there, and I didn't mean to. It's just kind of in the heat of the moment. That's what I did. So hey, it's over with. They're not going to kill the broadcast. I was chatting with Bob Bulow, or I'm sorry, Heath Barlow about that. What they'll do if it gets tagged, if it gets tagged or whatever, they'll just mute that copywritten portion of the show. So, you know, a minute or so. How long is that? That's 3 minutes and 54 seconds will be just muted. That's it. Anyway, back, I promised we'd talk about drugs. So we're going to talk about drugs. I mean, we did the story about the legalization effort in Missouri for marijuana, which I think is okay, but Florida is a different story. This is definitely a Florida man story. And a Florida man texted someone about buying an 8-ball of cocaine. Except the person on the other end of the phone was the county commissioner. He wasn't a customer. He transposed a couple of numbers or something. Like accidentally texted the county commissioner if you wanted an 8-ball of cocaine, which is around 3 grams, 3.5 grams or whatever. Yep. So 18-year-old Jack Edward Fisher was arrested on Monday and charged with felony possession of fentanyl with the intent to distribute and unlawful use of a two-way communications device. I'm kind of throwing the book at this kid. It's unclear who Fisher's text was meant for, but it instead went to Flagler County Commissioner Joe Mullins, who reported him immediately to the police. Officers then had Mullins keep texting with Fisher for entrapment purposes. That's my opinion, to see how far he would go. It's like one of those, when cops get involved, you see how far that they want to go. Like you're going to assassinate someone, or you're looking for bomb-making materials. The ATF and the FBI or whatever get involved. They see how far you're going to go, and then when you actually go that far or attempt to go that far, that's when they arrest you, and the charges just stack up. Officers then had Mullins keep texting Fisher and arrange a meeting where he was met by an undercover cop. Fisher was found in possession of a bag filled with 3.17 grams of fentanyl. So I'm a little confused.
That's a lot of fentanyl.
Was it just fentanyl, or was it cocaine with fentanyl in it?
Well, if they charged him with 3 grams of pure fentanyl, didn't realize it. Huh?
I mean, you do a line of fentanyl, straight fentanyl, you're dead.
Yes. It only takes show it like next to a penny how much it takes to kill a person.
It takes they're talking micrograms to kill micrograms are it's a millionth of a whole. So it doesn't take much.
That stuff is a freaking elephant tranquilizer. It's designed to tranquilize elephants. I don't know why or how it's become so popular. The cartel over here, because they can cut it with their black tar or whatever the heck they're bringing over here. And that's why that's why I want marijuana legalized the whole way across. Because like I said earlier, people are lacing marijuana with shit, and so some kid on the street says, "Oh, I'm gonna give you." The next thing you know, he smoked a gram of fentanyl. He's dead because he's wanted to get high off of a joint that should have been legal.
So it would seem to me that law enforcement, along with the DA's office, is receiving a higher conviction rate if they have, charges pressed against, like this kid, and with fentanyl rather than just cocaine. It could have been cocaine with a little fentanyl in it, but they're pressing him for fentanyl.
That's the way to do it then at that point.
With the introduction of, let me start over again. With the introduction to the synthetic drug fentanyl, thank you, China, the illicit drug market has a new boogeyman. Cocaine just isn't bad enough. They're not going to press charges for cocaine possession. It's now fentanyl. Because, I mean, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Folks are getting hemmed up for just having a little bit of fentanyl, but that's enough. They threw out some stat here that says that with the amount of fentanyl that was in whatever that is, was enough to kill like 1,536 people.
That's
and just casual exposure. You don't even have to do drugs. You just come in contact with it.
Well, that's kind of like when police officers started carrying around. And at first, I was like, they don't need to be carrying around Narcan to be administrating these like.
They might have to Narcan their partner.
They're carrying it for themselves.
Yeah.
That's when it clicked in my head and I started understanding this stuff. It was like, yeah, they should be carrying it. Because just open a bag and all of a sudden they're overdosed off this crap. And
you don't even have to inhale it. I mean, just exposure through the skin or something is enough to really put you in a bad place.
The freaking at this point, it's like a.
So Fisher has been previously arrested this year in April on a misdemeanor charges of alcohol in possession by a person under 21 and marijuana possession of under 20 grams. So chances are he had, half an ounce of pot on him, and he had beer. Yeah, I looked at that at his little rap sheet. It's not long. He hasn't really been in trouble, but 5'11", 200 pounds. He's still incarcerated. So.
But they gave him a bond and he didn't cash out on that? He's got a bond number there on the paperwork right there.
And it says $0. It says $0. And he bonded out. He didn't bond out. He was just released on his previous charges. On the alcohol possession and the marijuana possession, he was just released. And it looks, if you look at this, it looks like he didn't bond out. He was just released.
Well, that's the way they do it around here. I mean, there's a couple times they've let people who charges or straight up manslaughter charges, they've let them bond out around here, kill someone else. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with these judges? They're not even judges and magistrates. It's like they don't give a shit about public.
See, and I noticed that in like New York and California and stuff, it's like a catch and release program. You know, they get hemmed up for, violent ass crimes, and they just get released. Here's your court date. It's just like immigration court. Yeah, you're in the country illegally. We're going to send you to whatever state you want to go to. Here's your court date. You're supposed to be there. What are the chances that these folks coming over the border illegally are going to report? If they're serious about getting citizenship, I think that they will.
I'm looking at the booking date and the release date. He only spent less than 5.5 hours in the freaking holding.
Yeah. It was like early in the morning, like 1 in the morning.
He got there at 1:30 in the morning by 7.
Wonder if he had a good. Maybe he had a good public defender.
Or he's got a rich daddy, one of the
or something like that.
He knows Nancy Pelosi's husband's guy.
Or he's got dirt on Hillary, so they're like, hey, we don't want him to talk, so. So what do you think about resurrecting extinct animals?
You ever watch Jurassic?
I've heard of it.
There's a whole bunch of warnings in there. I did see they're trying to do the Tasmanian tiger, which would be kind of cool because it hasn't been extinct that long.
1936. 1936 is when the Tasmanian tiger went off the map, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So check this out. Of all the species that humanity has wiped off the face of the planet, the thylacine is possibly the most tragic loss. The thylacine was Australia's only marsupial apex predator. It once lived across the continent, but it was restricted to Tasmania about 3,000 years ago. Looks like a dog with stripes across its butt. It was extensively hunted after European colonization. The last known survivor died in captivity in 1936. The wolf-sized marsupial, sometimes called the Tasmanian tiger, met its end in part because the government paid its citizens a bounty for every animal that it killed. That end came recently enough to have actual photographs and video clips, which you're seeing right now, of the last thylacines ending their days in zoos. Late enough that in just a few decades, countries would start writing laws to protect other species from seeing the same fate. So man, that's a beautiful looking animal, dude. I imagine it was hunted because it would attack crops and stuff.
It'd be cool to see it come back. I know they need it out there in Australia with all the and all kinds of weird things that they've introduced.
I mean, everything in Australia,
natural predator.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you. Why not? Just add another one.
One in there,
yeah. So on Tuesday of this week, a company called Colossal has already said in the past that it wants to bring back this animal. It's announcing a partnership with an Australian lab that will de-extinct the thylacine with the goal of reintroducing it into the wild. A number of features, the marsupial biology, make this a more realistic goal than bringing back, let's say, the woolly mammoth or the saber-toothed tiger. It seems to me like you could do the saber-toothed tiger a little bit easier than the thylacine.
This a marsupial be a kind of. I don't know. Wouldn't I mean the marsupials like reproductive system? If you think about it, because all you'd have to do is just join. Well, first you need an egg, which I don't know where. Yeah, but
you're gonna have to find a host, something close enough, related closely enough to it, and to start it. And then I've got these thoughts are down toward the end of my story here. So
they're going to use a possum. They're going to use an American possum, and it's going to turn out to be the most creature on the planet.
So there's still a lot of work to do before we even start the debate about whether reintroducing this species is a good idea. So what do you think? I think that if it can be done, we should do it because it's cool looking. I think it's cool looking.
You know, see them do that with the Carolina parakeet.
Tell me about that.
Like, that's a bird kind of similar. I think it went on the same time as this Tasmanian tiger almost, but they hunted. They were the only parrot in the east subtropical America, and they hunted them for their feathers because the feathers look nice.
Their plumage.
They hunted them for their plumage and the fact that they thought they were destroying crops. So, I mean, if you go online and look, they've got plenty of like pictures of what these things look like, birds. And I really wish, if they're gonna do something like that, cool Tasmanian. Let's do it with like the passenger pigeon, the one that that one. We could, let's do it. I mean, we kind of screwed up the environment. If we could, let's do it. Huh? I have no problem with that. No?
Yeah, I got no problem with bringing this thing back. As long as they don't get out of control, it seems like.
They start with wolf. Mammoths didn't go extinct. They're saying now almost like 4,000 years ago until they went extinct. So I mean, we could bring them back. I don't know why. I mean, unless they have really good tasting, like Bronto ribs or whatever it is, we could do that. Huh?
I've seen the Flintstones, Brontosaurus burgers.
Yeah, bring them back. I mean, apparently human extinction, so apparently the meat was really good. So instead of having cows, we could have one mammoth running around eating grass. That problem. Everyone's bitching about damn cows putting methane in the air. We can get rid of one woolly mammoth. Perfect. Huh?
So John Parker Zanoff says, I remember that William Dafoe movie about this. I don't. What movie is it?
That was I don't know. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I did see it. And he's apparently, I guess it's some corporation wanted it dead. I don't know. I can't remember. But at the end of the movie, he literally shoots, like, there's one in the wild, like, still alive today, and he winds up shooting and killing it.
So there's,
I might be wrong on that.
There's none of these. These things do not exist anymore, unless someone's got one in their backyard, which I don't think they do. There's none in existence.
Was the last place where they were at. So I mean, they say these things all the time, but then it's like up in Pennsylvania, they see mountain lions all the time. So I saw a mountain lion and I took a picture of it, and you look at it, it's just a really big house catwalk.
So I'm wondering how this can be done, and I got a little stream of consciousness thought process here. So it's a marsupial. So they would need to impregnate a marsupial of the same sort to make this happen. I think the closest marsupial relative would be the Tasmanian devil. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. The thylacine was a beautiful animal, and we as humans should just learn a lesson not to drive animals into extinction. So it seems to me that they would have to. Let's just use the Tasmanian devil as an example. So they would impregnate, find a way, alter the DNA enough so they can impregnate a Tasmanian devil with the DNA of the thylacine. It would, okay, it gives birth, it's a viable pregnancy, it and all this other stuff. Then they would have to do another one from probably another host. And then they would have to do it over and over and over again until the genetic line is as pure. just to make sure the genetic line is as pure as it can be. And then you start mating these two together, and then you're going to have the thylacine. This is years. This will be years away. I don't know what the gestation of these things are. Probably, 6 months or so.
20 years. Rich Karen up in Hollywood walking around while he's on a leash. You know, I'm just saying.
We had a guy, some rapper that lives here in Dallas, just got arrested. He had an arrest warrant, and the cop showed up to his house, and he had a freaking tiger in his house.
That happens. This is the reason why there's hippos in damn South America.
Right. John got back with us. He says it was a movie called The Hunter. That's the William Dafoe movie was called The Hunter.
The Hunter, yes. Yeah, I remember seeing it. Those late night movies where you're just kind of like dozing off and you're flipping through, and you came near the beginning of the movie. It was a good movie, but it's just saw one time, and I didn't remember the name of it. Now that he mentioned it, I do remember seeing that. Good movie.
There's a couple of movies that ended up being really good. I'll be sitting on the couch, and I'm like, okay, I want to take a nap, but I don't want to go to bed. What's a good movie I can just fall asleep to? And that would probably be on the list.
Well, I didn't fall asleep because it was just, it's one of those ones where you're like, oh, I'm just flipping through, and all of a sudden you get sucked in. Now I gotta watch it.
So yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I when I was in Korea, I was assigned a room. I got into my room and I moved in, and inside one of the drawers in the desk was a VHS tape. It didn't have any markings on it. I'm like, okay, what the fuck could this be? Threw it in my VCR player. Yeah, and we had I had a VCR back then, and it was a movie called The Quiet Earth. It was this definitely a B movie, and I am completely addicted to that. If I had that in my possession, I would watch it again. It's a movie. I want to say it was in Australia about there was a net, an electrical net that was over the earth that was being launched by the government. It went around the globe, and it was supposed to protect us from things and stuff. When they launched it, everybody died except for people that died at that exact moment. So if you died at that exact moment, you lived, but everybody else who was just alive died. So everybody's pretty much, dead. So there's this guy who survived, and he goes around and he's just he's kind of loving life, going a little bit crazy because he's the only guy there, no one to talk to. So he's like going like, fuck it, I live in this shithole, so I'm gonna live in a mansion. So he lived in this mansion for a while, and he's like wearing women's clothes. He's just having a good old time. And then he runs into like other people that happen to survive. It was really cool. It's kind of like that sitcom, The Last Man on Earth, but on a global scale.
Oh yeah, I remember. That only made like a season or two, didn't it?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good concept, but it didn't make it. It was funny. It was funny because that was the same actor who was in PCU, Politically Correct University, PCU. It was really funny. But anyway, The Quiet Earth. That is the VHS tape that was in my dresser or my desk or whatever. That is just. It's really good. It's really good. I liked it.
Movies like that I don't even know the name to. It was just like flipping through HBO late at night, and it just happened. One, I think the name of the movie is actually called Blind, but this virus went through and started making everyone blind, but this woman was immune to it, and it's a really cheesy concept to a movie, but like she could see, and no one else could see. So she was like lead people around, and he's pretty. I mean, it's B kind of shit. Like the worst best movies I've seen over the last. When I was in Texas, it was called What was it called? Llama Apocalypse.
Okay.
Llama Apocalypse, and if you think like the old like B movies that like they had a budget. This didn't have a budget, so it was but it was so bad. It was good. I don't know how to explain that.
Like Sharknado? Like Sharknado? How does Sharknado has how many iterations? 8 iterations? Like Sharknado 8.
I don't know what this. It's like Tremors. They're still doing Tremors movies. Like...
All the real actors got out of Tremors, and now it's just all these other actors doing
the original OG guy, crazy nut guy, gun is in all the Tremors movies.
He is.
He owned that shit.
So we have a friend of the station, Mindy Robinson, who does these types of movies, and she has a blast doing them. And she does them because she likes to act. Mindy Robinson, if you don't know her, she's Randy Couture's wife. I don't even know if they're married. I know that they're together. But she does these, and she's talked about it before. She loves doing these movies. So I guess it's just the joy of acting, and it brings her a paycheck, and she does it. She's not a bad actor either. She's good.
It's like, what's it? Sci-fi. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yes. I used to love that shit.
I used to. I tried to watch the movie, and it just wasn't working out for me.
No, the series was great. I used to do all like 1950s like horror movies that were just dumb as rocks. Commentated, it would make it so much better at that point. No?
You know what I'm going to try to do? I wonder if this. Okay, tell me if this is horrible audio. Go ahead and talk, Pookie. Oh, that's talk. Say words and things.
I was listening.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He said, "Listen to something." All right.
No, I turned on your NDI audio, and it's still cutting out. What's up, James? So there's the last week, and this happened last week. We talked about Anne Hesh. When she died, when she didn't die, when she was brain dead or whatever. So she ended up, after the show, I realized that she wasn't actually physically dead yet. She was still alive. She was just brain dead. But she ended up dying, I think, on Sunday. But so last week we did a story about Anne Hesh and her car accident. Well, the medical examiner has spoken. So check this out. The cause of death, according to the medical examiner, of actress Anne Hesh was ruled an accident. So she died. I guess she died on Sunday or whatever. They did an autopsy or whatever, and on Wednesday, the Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiners coroner said that it was an accident. Hesh's car crashed into a Los Angeles home, and it erupted into flames on August 5th. After the accident, Hesh experienced a severe anoxic brain injury, depriving her brain of oxygen. Among other critical injuries following the crash, her family and friends said in a statement to CNN she had a whole bunch of other shit that was wrong with her. The coroner cited inhalation, smoke inhalation, thermal injuries were her main cause of death. Other significant conditions in her death included a sternal fracture due to blunt trauma. Sternal fractures are the result of motor vehicle collisions in 60 to 90% of cases. They typically result from the chest striking the steering wheel, with most injuries occurring in vehicles with no airbag. She was driving a Mini Cooper, I think. So it had an airbag, but she still had a sternal fracture. These fractures are slightly more prevalent in females than males. So the coroner said it was an accident. Was it really an accident? They didn't mention, there was no mention of, alcohol intoxication or anything like that. I think they're just trying to make her not tainted, her death not tainted. Like she tied one on, she made bad decisions. And
I mean, would it be classified an accident? I got drunk at all. the road and went on a rampage and, crashed into a house. I mean, that's an accident, isn't it?
It is an accident.
I mean, it wasn't murder. It wasn't. Was it?
Daniel Howard said she hit a house, didn't she? Yeah, she did. So what I understand is there was an accident. From the accident, she fled, and then she hit a house, and then her car caught on fire, burned the house down, and then she ended up dying because of that. So yeah, I guess it was an accident, but it was because of bad decisions made along the way.
Maybe negligence. Negligence. Would have been a better word. That would have been a better. It
was like her own negligent death. I don't know. I was in an accident when I was at Fort Hood, and it was there was a death involved. I was a backseat passenger. Driver fell asleep. The accident killed his girlfriend, and I was in the backseat. It was ruled. I think CID did their investigation. It was ruled an unfortunate incident. He wasn't drinking at all. He was my DD. But he fell asleep at the wheel on the way back to the barracks, and that was considered an unfortunate incident or an accident, as you would have it. So yeah, I guess I can see it being ruled accidental.
It's like accident. Yeah, because it would be an accident in a sense too. Like I don't know how to. I'm not. How to write these things down. I mean, like murder, suicide, oops.
So Spanky says, have you seen the video? She was going pretty fast. It was a video from someone's Ring camera. Just her car.
I didn't see that.
I did, but that video got removed, or it got taken down. I know it exists out there. It's got to exist.
You go to Vimeo or whatever what one web page is that they don't on their platform, so you can find all the juicy videos.
No shit. You got a link for that?
I have to go look it up. I'll send it once I figure out what it is. But it's literally like YouTube without the,
I think I think I might like that. For some reason, I think that would be
It's 1993 internet. Click on a link and it's two girls and a cup.
No, not that one. I've never seen that. I heard enough about it where I don't. Or Blue Waffle, or that thing. Now they're actually legitimately selling blue waffles in the grocery store.
I saw that. That's nuts. So I grew up with a VHS. Was it Faces of Death? So
yeah,
the 90s internet didn't. I was like, I see some crazy crap growing up as a kid.
Yeah, I remember those. Hey, you need to come over and watch this movie, and it was like someone had a copy of this VHS tape called Faces of Death. Nasty. It's just
like 100 volumes of that thing.
That is gross. I saw enough of that shit, when I was overseas. It's just fuckers being held, just hung from fucking like backhoes and whatever in Iraq. It was just nasty.
I used to call that predator porn.
Predator porn.
Yeah, the predators and the blimps.
Okay.
And watch shit blowing up and red bits going, or not red bits, hot white bits going through the.
So what do you think about squatters?
It's a legitimate thing.
It's a legitimate meaning legal? Like, it's okay?
It's a thing if you know what you're doing about it. No, you don't just go to someone's house and sit there for 5 years. There's a old abandoned house somewhere and no one's in it.
Well, if it's abandoned, if it's abandoned, yeah. If it's abandoned, yeah. Yeah, if it's abandoned, like in Detroit.
Texas did that. No. So, Detroit do what?
Like in Detroit, there's so much. I used to work in Detroit in the downtown area, outside of 8 Mile, but within. I mean, I was just a couple of miles away from the city center, and there were so many just restaurants and houses that were just completely boarded up. There was no one lived on this block, except for these are all trap houses, I guess. But squatters, home sellers, people that are trying to sell their homes are running into these issues with squatters. Home sellers are definitely running into these issues. In Baltimore, this is my example. In Baltimore, a homeowner had just completed extensive renovations on their property and was preparing to put the house on the market when his plans changed overnight. Someone, not the owner, had moved into the house. The owner said that the lockbox on the front had vanished, and the woman who was in the house, who had settled inside the house, claimed the home as her own. They basically removed the lockbox, changed the locks, and presented the property as their own. The woman was refusing to leave, and according to the owners, is armed with a fictitious lease claiming that she had rented the home. In text messages, the owners had offered the woman $1,500 to leave the house. She replied, "Nah, it's going to cost you $6,200 for me to leave this house." This is just a scheme for them to make money, and this scheme is not uncommon. It happens a lot in the Baltimore area. Professional eviction specialists. I did not know that this job existed. It's pretty sexy sounding. Professional eviction specialists say that they usually do 5 to 6 evictions per week. Owners of the Baltimore home have filed an action in court, but it could take 6 to 8 months for the court to hear the case because of, I guess, backlog. If the vagrants know that they can take over a property and get the legitimate owners to pay them a fee to leave the house, then they're going to do it regularly. I personally see this as a way of getting your ass kicked or worse. I don't know. I mean, I know Texas has some certain squatters' rights. It's along the same lines.
It's squatters. It's called squatters' rights in Texas, and it's very vague. The house could be borderline for. It gets stuck up in a bank, and some of these foreclosure companies. So it's kind of hanging there, and you just move in and be like, "Hey, it's mine."
So it's in between ownership. It's between the owner owning it and the bank owning it.
Yeah, and you come in and say, "Hey, what's the property taxes on there? Are there any liens against it?" If there's no liens against the house, you start paying the property tax on it. It becomes yours at that point.
Yes.
As long as you maintain the property tax for so long. I think it's 5, some places 3 years, 10 years in some places. But you could literally get a free house if you know what you're
I looked at that, and there was an article, and this is probably a year ago, 2 years ago or so, when I read that, where people were actually going in and looking at the property tax statuses of houses in certain areas, and I decided against that because there's people living there. They're just behind on their taxes, and I can freaking take their house and evict them for a couple of $1,000s. I'm not a dick. I'm not a dick, man.
You're good. Well, see, in Florida, it's kind of similar like that. If people are so far, the state will actually put it up, hey, the state will foreclose on your house, take all the money for it, even past the amount of taxes.
Yeah.
So the state's just as bad. But in Florida, you can look. There's some abandoned homes, the owner is a little bit behind. Had no next of kin, but they're a little bit behind on tax. All you do is walk in there and be like, "I want this. Here's the money." Tax. And by the end of the month, you have the deed to the property, and it's yours. All you did was pay what, $2,400 for property tax. It's a legitimate way to make money at that point. Huh?
It's a legitimate way to get a nice ass house. For just, you assume the loan, you pay the taxes. Isn't that what it would be? You just pay the back taxes?
Liens against the house, though.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a lien against, say for instance, house is foreclosed on, and say the bank has a lien on it for whatever was owned, try to step in and be like, "Hey, I'm going to pay property tax. I want to claim this." Now you're liable for the lien, and you can actually screw yourself doing that. Huh?
Yeah, you could be out for out of a lot of money. I don't know. I don't think I'm not desperate for a house.
It goes way back in the day where you had some of these like filthy rich like tycoons that own 1,000 acres of land out in like Blue Ridge Mountain or something like that, and you just found yourself where he never was going to step into it in the first place. Build your little log cabin and meek out for 8 years, and when he finally discovers you, they'll be like, "Well, I've been living here for 8 years. It's my property now." You staked it out, you know. This is mine, and they can't fight you against this.
Yeah.
Shit.
Ugh. Man, that's such a dicey situation, man. So let's talk about our weird story. This is my weird story for tonight. I would love to say that this sounds like a Florida man story. It really does sound like a Florida man story, but it's not. A Pennsylvania man was arrested after police found multiple 5-gallon buckets of human remains in his basement, after an investigation revealed that he was buying stolen body parts on Facebook. Jeremy Pauly, age 40, is facing charges of receiving stolen property, dealing in proceeds of unlawful activities, and abuse of a corpse. Police originally received complaints in June about body parts being sold on Facebook. Police served a search warrant at Pauly's residence, and they found human brains, hearts, livers, skin, and lungs inside 3 5-gallon buckets in his basement. I'll bet you that smelled fucking bad. I mean, I've smelled chicken when it goes bad in the refrigerator. I can't imagine something.
I used to make stink bait for catfish out of chicken liver, and I would just buy the chicken liver in a tub, and I'd wait for the hottest time of the day, and I'd just like plop it out there. I let some he's just bacon, and that when you cry, you get some catfish off of it, but ooh,
that is so nasty, dude. So Cumberland County DA said, whose name is Sean McCormick, said that this is one of the most bizarre investigations I have ever encountered in my 33 years as a prosecutor. Just when I think I've seen it all, a case like this pops up. A forensic pathologist confirmed that the seized body parts were human remains, according to the police. Law enforcement continued to investigate and found that Pauly was allegedly purchasing these human remains over Facebook from a woman in Arkansas named Candace Scott. She stands accused of stealing body parts from a mortuary associated with the University of Arkansas. Another shipment of body parts was later intercepted in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Cumberland County, that's out towards
I don't know.
Nah, my brain's trying to. I lived in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I was born in Pennsylvania. I lived there, teenager. So I'm just my brain's trying. Cumberland County's either near Mechanicsville or Harrisburg or whatever. Harrisburg. That that's why my brain's processing. Because you said that, I was like,
you're like, I know that area.
Yeah, that's like close to where I live. That sounds like some crazy hillbilly somewhere.
So Pauly, this lovely guy, you know what? If you look at this picture, this kind of looks like Red Leg without all the tattoos. It's not Red Leg. It's not Red Leg. I just want to put that out there. This is not Red Leg. But it looks like Red Leg without the tattoos and the black fucking eye and. So he was released on $50,000 bail. He could not be reached for comment on Thursday, but he described the allegations on his Facebook page as a lot of fluff and drama. So apparently his Facebook page is still active. It's a lot of fluff and drama. You know, it sounds like a lot of body parts and nastiness to me.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize there was a body was going on Facebook. But
no, it kind of makes me want to look, but I don't want to get on another fucking watch list.
Facebook needs to police their shit.
So all over this story, that's like, we tried to reach out to Facebook and they didn't have a comment, and they tried to reach out to the FBI, who was active in this investigation. They wouldn't comment. I mean, it's an ongoing investigation. Facebook wouldn't say shit.
But if I post an airsoft gun, I get banned for 30 days.
Or a nipple on a boob is, you know, Zuckerberg doesn't like the nipples.
This is insanity at this point. No,
you know, hey, this is clown world, bro.
Human remains. Sell human remains on the marketplace, but if I have my little pew pew, you know, ooh, boom, banned. All right, I got you.
Is Facebook really really nasty on that right now? You can't, because I've got friends. You know, Tater.
It's not as bad as
you know Tater. Are you friends with Tater? He's got some badass guns. And he's just like, hey, here's what I bought this week, and it's like nice guns, really nice guns.
Yeah, I only share those pictures through my personal Discord. I'm understanding a Discord be talking to the FBI about crap, so I'm probably on 1,000 watch.
Uh-oh.
Wait for them IRS videos. I'm surprised you didn't talk about that.
Which one is this? You were breaking up?
No, it was an IRS trainees coming in there training on how to clear a room with pistols.
My gosh, that video? Yeah, I was going to show that, and no. It was so bad. So bad.
I've seen privates do a better job.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that, and maybe I'll show that next week. Oh, it's so bad.
I'll show that next week, because that just made me feel bad. I was like, on the barrel here, there's a bunch of veterans that would do that. That if you could.
All right, I guess we're going to call that a show. So you can check us out on Facebook, on WTF Nation Radio, Facebook WTFNR, or U.S. Army WTF Moments every Monday with the Monday edition with Ice. Tuesdays Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. Wednesday we have a pending show with Radar. Hopefully that happens soon. Thursday is Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. Hopefully Spanky comes back pretty soon. I miss her. I miss seeing her. Right, actually, I miss hearing her. A lot of times she's not on camera. Friday is Friday Night Freedom. And then Sunday we have Sports Bar with the Coach is coming. It is coming. That is a definite thing. It is coming. So sorry about all the clipping. Hopefully we can get this fixed. Maybe it's not. I really don't think it's our issue. Oh, you know what I did? Last week we talked about, I've got AT&T for my internet. They're my ISP. So I went online, and I decided that, I'm looking at their plans. So I got, I did have a plan that had, it was a 300 megabits up, down for, I don't know, like $80 a month or whatever. And that was doing the trick. So I for the same price, I could have had 1 gig up, 1 gig down. They offered packages for like $120 for 2 gigs up, down. That's not bad. It's really not bad. I didn't need that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do 1 gig up, down without a change in my bill. Without a change in my bill, I could have gotten 1 gig up, down.
$65 a month here, and my up, down mid-September.
Yeah,
I applied for it, so I'll have the up, down $65 a month here. So I mean, that's not too terribly bad if you think about it.
So I ended up getting what I didn't want. I don't want motherfuckers in my house. So in order to, I don't want to have to take time off of work to have some guy come in and set my modem up. I can do it myself, but they wouldn't let me do it myself. So I decided to go to, so I was getting 300. I'm getting 500 now. And it actually is $20 less a month. So I'm getting, I'm reducing my cost, and I'm getting almost twice the bandwidth.
500 and 500 is still better. some of the shit.
It's good. It's good.
500 megabits is decent. It was not that bad.
It was really crazy because after I made my selections, I said yes, and I did the digital sign thing, and they said congratulations, you're saving $20 a month, and all of a sudden my modem stopped working. What I was getting was, it was a message saying, okay, thank you for your selection. We appreciate you being a customer. This may take 24 hours to take effect. As soon as I clicked okay, my modem stopped working, and nothing worked in my house. And then about 10 minutes later, it woke up. I restarted my modem, and boom, there we are. I'm doing about 530, 520 megabits. It's cool. But unfortunately, we're having clipping issues. Maybe it's related. I don't think so.
Figured it out. It might be some packet droppage somewhere.
Yeah.
Figure that out by next week.
Hopefully, I'm trying to. What I would like to do is go down to San Antonio next week with ICE. I'm trying to figure out how I can take time off to make that happen. So there may or may not be a show next week. I haven't worked that out yet. So yeah, you can catch us here several days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, all at the same time, 2000 hours. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next week, man. You got any words of wisdom? I want words of wisdom from Pookie.
Like I always say, don't drink and drive. Don't beat your spouse. Don't kick your. Be safe.
Make good decisions. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Be a decent human being.
Thank you for hanging out. We're out.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. This is WTF Nation Radio.